to Musings, Rants, and Guitars, Sunday Evening Live, August 23rd, 2020. Today's special guest, Rickey Medlocke of, well, let's start with the fact that he is one of the greatest frontman ever.
Oh my
Blackfoot.
God, Rickey, thank
unbelievable.
You on, man.
And
Holy
if that's not
God.
enough, he
Awesome,
goes
brother.
and he's in Lynyrd Skynyrd also.
Yeah.
Like, what else can you say, man?
Top that off.
No, thank
Oh
you,
my
guys.
God.
Listen, that's a great compliment, and I appreciate it. I've spent my whole life in this business, and when I get guys like yourself and people giving me that kind of compliment, it really touches my heart really deeply, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Wow.
I know, man, you've done stuff that has really touched us too. So
Well, as you can see, I am surrounded by a couple of my lovely ladies.
pretty ladies.
Yeah. So,
Like I said, when my better half is not with me, and these are who I sleep with, and she trusts these lovely ladies. See, this is the only ladies I could sleep with.
That makes sense.
Or she would just have my nuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely, man.
But yeah, man.
So what do you have there?
Huh?
So what do you have there?
Well, here to my left and maybe to your right, this is my beautiful 59 Les Paul, and she's unbelievable playing. And this year is my 55, which I did a little bit of chop job on it. It had the white soap bar pickups on it. But back then I just had to have humbuckers and routed it out so I could have the humbuckers. But there's a couple of my ladies. I've got quite a few of them scattered around the room here. And they keep me company during this whole COVID thing going on. And what's really interesting, we had gone out and played a couple of shows on March the 7th and 8th, as the virus was really starting to affect the country. And
Right.
we made a conscious decision to go ahead and go out and, play some gigs. And so we went and we played on the 7th and the 8th as it was breaking out. Well, with that being said, we were due to play Fresno, California and Reno, Nevada the following weekend. And I was going to leave and fly back to Mississippi, where Stacy and mine lake house is. She's from Memphis. She's a soul singer, soul rocker. And I was going to go back there, but all of a sudden the shutdown came. I got stuck down here. She's up there with the dogs and the monkey. And, all of a sudden I've been here for 5.5 months in the house, listening to my own voice echo around this house. And it's been pretty interesting at times.
We're glad we called.
It's been pretty interesting at times, and
Absolutely.
But hey, you know what, man? I got the guitars to keep me company. I play. I've been writing some ideas down for some new songs, and going out and fishing a lot, because I love to fish. I'm a guy that's into conservation, and I love being on the water, as a Florida boy should. Yeah. And I've gone out and done a lot of fishing and bicycle riding to keep the poundage off and adhering to my health. And one thing that I can definitely tell you guys, not a lot of people know this about me, but all of a sudden when this thing hit, they said that people who had pre-existing health issues should be very careful with this, because it attacks the lungs. Well, I only have one lung, and I have a respiratory illness called bronchiectasis, which I've had all my life. And so I have to be very adherent to that. And so that's what's kind of kept me trapped here in this environment, and having to make sure that I guard myself really well in that whole bit. And my mother, 85 years old, God bless her, tough woman. She just had it and just came out of it.
Wow.
So, yeah, she beat it.
Awesome.
And strong lady.
Great. Yeah.
And you know what, man? But I've been writing, I've been playing, and kind of, you know what, man? Kind of settled into something that's pretty weird. By myself, you know, thank God for FaceTime, because my gal and I, man, we live on FaceTime.
Right.
And we've kind of got our own little method down to where we get on FaceTime. We just set the phone down where we can see each other. And it's kind of like, well, there she is, you know, and there he is. And, we kind of visit that way and talk like we would be if we were together. The only thing is there's no touchy-feely, and that's bad.
They have to work on that. They got to fix that, because that's upsetting us all.
Absolutely.
So,
But you know what, guys? Thank you for having me today.
Yes.
we are extremely honored.
I really
It's an honor.
appreciate this, man. It's like when I knew I was going to come on with some musicians, I was like, yeah, man, let's get it on. So I'm yours.
Yeah. So we're all in the same spot where we can't really do much. You know, obviously we're not, you know, performing live. I mean, we've all done some recording, you know, and
Right.
you know,
Sure.
like everybody seems to have done the Zoom recording thing too, or you know, some type
Sure.
of video. You know, my own band itself did it. But how have you been keeping busy?
Well, you know, I got to tell you, the one thing that, like I was saying, that I do is that I have a couple of studios here in town in Fort Myers. I got a cutting room across town, and really, you know, a good control room and cutting rooms and stuff like that. And I've been going over there and visiting with that place, and making sure that, you know, I still know how to operate everything and keep myself in the ball game.
Yeah.
But here I have as you can see, I have my mix room, so that when I'm doing projects or whatever, I can get in here with the Pro Tools stuff and, you know, pull everything up and jam out to myself, create tracks, you know, do some recording. Because I know that at some point, Gary, Johnny, and myself are going to get back together, probably go through ideas, go through things that we feel that we can create, because, you know, even though we were doing what was called Last of the Street Survivors Farewell Tour.
Yeah.
I will clarify that if I can, because what we meant by that back in 2017, we had been out for a long time, a good while. And Gary, you know, everybody kind of knew that in the last 15 or so years, Gary had succumbed to a lot of different health issues with his heart. And you know what, man, it just wasn't in the cards for him to be able to carry on doing like we were doing 75, 80 shows a year. And that's a lot of shows when you're, you know, when you're playing gigs and you're going to hotels, in and out of hotels and in and out of the bus and, you know, doing whatever you did. That was a lot on the guy. You know what I'm saying? So we were on the bus, and it came up that, and I know that Johnny and I had talked about it, and we had kind of spoken to Gary about it, and maybe thought it was time to do a farewell tour to doing massive, massive touring where we weren't doing 75, 80 shows a year. And it was kicked around, and we thought it was time. And so we implemented it. The management did. Now, it did not mean that we were just going to that we were going to stop playing altogether.
Okay.
What it meant was the farewell to long, 80 show tours. This year would have marked the last of that. But now, that we've had this whole thing happen, we got some serious ground to make up. And, but what we are going to do is that, Gary, Johnny, and I have expressed our interest in bringing out a lot of songs that we have written in the years that I've been back with the guys, which is 25 years I've been back with them.
New guy.
And
yeah, the new guy.
New old guy.
Yeah, new old guy.
25, I'm the new guy. But we thought about bringing out some of the songs that we've created, and we actually went in the studio, and we had a song that we had written together, actually called "Last of the Street Survivors."
Ooh.
And we went in the studio, and Gary, Johnny, and myself formed a little production team called Three Southern Gents. And we cut the gentleman out of it because I don't think we quite take the whole word. So
little stretch.
I think we qualify as gents, but gentlemen, I don't know. But anyway, we went in the studio and we produced a side to see if we could do that. And man, it come out so good. I was so proud of it.
Yeah.
And so we want to do it again. We want to go in the studio, take the band in the studio, and come out with maybe a whole brand new record. We don't know yet because we don't know the future right now, of course, but that's what we'd like to be able to do. So, you know what, man? I've been busy at home, getting ideas together, whether it be for Lynyrd Skynyrd or for myself or for whoever. And I've enjoyed that. For a while, though, I don't know. You guys might think this sounds strange, and if it does, well, whatever.
And we'll go with it.
Yeah, that's okay.
You know what, guys? For a while, I've got guitars sitting all over the house. I mean, in every room in this house.
Yeah.
And I would walk by one and just look at it. And for a while, I was kind of angry at the guitars for some weird reason. Like I've been stopped from picking you up.
Right.
Did you do that, or did I do that, or did somebody else do that? Who did that? Who goes there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for a while, I really went through this period being angry at music. And I wanted to lash out to somebody, but there was nobody to lash out to, And finally, one day, I was listening to some old kind of Delta blues kind of stuff, and it was almost like my old man was in my ear. And my old man was going, "Hey, man, get over your shit, man, and get back to it,"
Right.
And I walked over and picked up my old 57 Special. And I picked it up and I plugged it in, come out here and plugged it in. And I just started playing again, and I've been back to it. So I think my old man, had been walking around me going, "Enough of this bullshit, bro. Get back to what you love to do." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there we go.
Wow.
Rickey, we're all dealing with this a little differently, right, man? It's at times like mourning and pain and separation anxiety. We're covering a lot of pain here with this thing too. People are financially, you're seeing people who you love struggling on a lot of levels. People, and I'll bring this to even people with addiction have no resources right now too. They're trapped. There's no meetings or anything for that.
Right.
There's a lot. People. You can't do face to face, even talk to a counselor or anything. So, same thing. Like somebody came to you, right? whatever angel watches over you and said, you know what, enough. It's time for you to do your thing, right?
Yeah, I think I said this a while ago. You know, my heart really goes out to a lot of different people in this country and around the world.
The world
are in such dire trouble.
Yeah.
That this thing has really just crippled them. And for whatever reason that it happened, what it should be is an eye-opener of just how vulnerable we all are.
On a lot of levels.
On a lot of levels, yes. And, you know, once it gets back to some sort of, like we were talking about, normalcy, which I don't think we'll ever, in my opinion, I don't think we're ever going to see it basically the way it was.
Yeah, it's not going to be the year ago. It's
I think it's changed us in a way that who knows what it's going to be like. But if we can get back even to 50, 60%, you know what? I hope that it heals people.
Yeah.
I hope in their heart and in their mind.
Yeah.
I really do, because man, it just, I look at it of what it's done to the music industry. And maybe people looked at all of us guys in the music industry and went, you know, who cares about them guys, because they play music for a living, you know, their industry is less important. Well, hold on. Really? Because you got people in this world that depend on live music to keep their sanity.
That's one.
And their happiness.
Yeah.
And to keep going through life when things get bad. I tell you something, my granddaddy Shorty, he told me years ago when the Great Depression happened. He said when the Great Depression happened, everybody was just down and out. And he goes, Rickey, all of us in bands and musicians, we made the biggest living and more money than we ever thought we'd ever make, because people were starved for entertainment.
Yeah.
And right now, people are starved for entertainment.
Oh, yes.
If you think about the music industry, the film industry, like you guys were talking about, Broadway, okay? The cruise ships, this stuff, all this entertainment has been taken away from everybody, extracted. And that hurts people. You know what I mean? So like I said, my heart goes out to everybody. Hang in there, because I truly, honestly believe deep in my heart that a good time is coming again. And all we got to do is try to bully our way through it and stay tough and see where it goes, you know?
Just keep loving each other.
Rickey, I wanted to ask you, they're saying that the concert industry, supposedly in the fall of 2021, will start cropping up again. Is there a plan for the band? Have you guys have a plan on touring, or has anything been mentioned, or is there an idea of what you and the band will be doing?
Well, you know what? I've heard bits and pieces, and Johnny, Gary, and I talk, you know, a couple of times a week. And management, you know, sends out messages. As soon as they get, you know, information, they send it to us, you know.
Right.
I hear that the plans are that right now, the plans are for next year, for 2021, that we are going to crank back up again, that bands will crank back up again and go out and start touring. We're hoping, and we're trying to keep our confidence level up that we will. If everybody can kind of wrap their head around this. Now, when you say go back out and start touring, think about the undertaking for every band of putting a band on the road.
Yeah.
That's a big expense. And if you think, you know what I mean, getting your band together for rehearsals, getting your crew together, getting the transportations back,
all the expenses.
Yeah,
man,
absolutely.
It'll bend you over the knee and spank you. But you know what? I think that I think bands will figure out a way, you know, to do it again, to get back to it. And I don't know about anybody else, but I'm going to be the first one in line. I'll be the first one at the airport going, get the hell out of my way. I got a gig to play, you know? And listen, I can only imagine what it's going to feel like the very first night that all of us in Skynyrd steps back on the stage in an arena with all these people there that has been hungry for entertainment. It's going to be chaos.
Yeah.
Pandemonium. You know what I mean?
And hungry, you know, for you and Skynyrd, you know? I mean, you're gonna get like rabid people at that point. It's gonna be, I mean, you already had fans like that. Could you now they've been tortured. Now they want to.
Well, let's hope all of us can go out there and kick the footlights out.
Oh,
absolutely.
That's what we're looking for, man. We're looking for kicking the footlights
out.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Do it.
It's going to be on another level compared to what it was already.
Yeah. Honestly,
now, man, you are just like a ridiculously great front man.
Yeah.
I mean, you. I mean, I don't want to. You know, I know you got the Skynyrd thing going. The stuff you did in Blackfoot, man. You know, I was going. I remember. You know, I'm not that much younger than you. and I remember when, you know, you guys were out and watching it, and I went back to watch a bunch of videos since I knew we had a chance to talk to you, and I'm like, man, the tones were great, you know.
Oh yeah.
But you on stage, man, you fucking kill me, man. You're great. You know, you're really, really all-round great front man. You're playing guitar, you're singing. You're one of the guys that I would definitely give up a thank you to.
Yeah,
you know?
Thank you.
Really?
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, there's not many of guys that do everything as well as you do.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. You know what, man? Growing up, I had great teachers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ask about your family, because it goes way back in your family.
Boy, you know, when I started, you know, at such an early age, and I've got pictures of it, which I just look at it and I go, is that really me? When I was, you know, I grew up with my grandparents, my mother's parents, and born a little, almost native, about 65, 70% native, you know, and my grandparents took me on, and I had bad health issues as a kid. I wasn't supposed to live to see my 14th birthday, you know.
Showed them.
And so, you know, doctor, I got you. So what happened was I'm so thankful. I was blessed and so fortunate to have grandparents that they wanted a son. They wanted another son. And my grandmother at the time, she couldn't have any more children, so they adopted me. And immediately, my granddaddy, once I could wrap my hands around, and I still have it. I should have, knowing that I was going to be on the show, I should have broke it out and showed it to you.
Oh, yeah.
But I still have my original miniature 5-string banjo that my granddaddy taught me how to play when I was that age. And what happened is that he was in and out of Nashville a lot with country stars and other bands. And then he had his own band. But what he did do, in Jacksonville, there was a country music show that originated out of Jacksonville called the Toby Dowdy Show. And it went all over the Southeast. Well, my daddy was one of the steady players when he was in town. on the show, and people loved his banjo playing, and he would sing, and with Toby's band, and so forth and so on. And so we worked a song up, he and I did, when I was little. And he went to Toby, and he said, Toby, my grandson and I have worked up a song. And he's 3 years old now. And I would like to get you to let him come on with me and do the song. And Toby thought about it and said, you know what? That might be a pretty interesting thing for you and your grandson to come on here and do a song together.
Yeah.
A 5-string banjo and a miniature 5-string banjo, grandpa and grandson, So we did it. And the letters that came into the TV station was just overwhelming. And people just from all over the Southeast, Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, Alabama, Tennessee, And I remained on the show with him for 5 years.
No.
Wow.
I got, and what's cool is, here's one of the really cool things. Now, as a kid, growing up, you're watching TV and, you get to see, your Western heroes, Roy Rogers and, and the Lone Ranger, and you watch Lassie and you watch all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, Toby ended up having all these special guests come on his show. And I got to meet one time, one Saturday on his show. Who does he bring in? Roy Rogers.
Oh, my God.
With Trigger.
Whoa.
No shit.
Now, here I am, a young boy,
Oh, yeah.
and I wanted to sit on Trigger.
Right.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Roy Rogers wouldn't let me sit on him.
Really?
I went, in my young mind, I'm like, really, dude?
Right. So he can get a thank you.
You
Yeah.
ain't gonna let me sit on that big ass horse. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Then, lo and behold, one Saturday, who does he have? He has the original Lassie come on. And I got to sit and pet Lassie, and
Oh, my.
Lassie licked me all in my face, and I got kisses from Lassie, the original Lassie,
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it was pretty awesome.
That's
So
for a
then,
kid. Oh, my God.
here comes the pièce de résistance.
May we?
I didn't realize until my daddy, that day, he kept it from me. But all of a sudden, we're on our way to the TV station. And he looks over at me, he goes, hey, boy. I went, yeah, Dad. He goes, guess who's going to be on the show tonight? And I went, who? He goes, your favorite. And I went, you're kidding. The Lone Ranger.
Oh,
Clayton
yeah.
Clayton Moore.
Clayton Moore.
With Silver. Dude, I was just like, flipping. Well, sure enough, man. We get to the TV station, and out back here's this horse trailer, man. I mean, a badass horse trailer. And the horse wasn't in there. And Silver wasn't. And we go in there, and there is Clayton Moore standing in front of me, mask on, the hat on, the
Oh,
outfit,
all in. Oh.
the gun belt, and standing right by Silver.
Oh, man.
And I just couldn't stand it. My granddaddy walked up, and Toby was talking to Clayton Moore. And my granddaddy walked up, and Toby introduced my granddaddy to him. And I'm standing over there like, and I couldn't hardly talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I go, and I'm standing there, and he motions for me to come on. He goes, Clayton, he goes, I want to introduce you to one of your biggest dying fans. This is my grandson Rickey. I think I was 5 years old, 6 years. He bends down and he shakes my hand. He goes, "How you doing, partner?" And I said, "Oh, I'm good." You know, I'm like, you know, couldn't hardly talk. He reaches down and I said, can I sit on the horse? He goes, "Absolutely." He reaches down, picks me up, and sets me up on Silver.
Wow.
Wow.
Give me the reins, and Silver standing there kind of moving around. And I'm thinking in my little mind, I'm like, oh my God, this is the biggest horse I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, he let me sit there for, I don't know, how long. And the show was getting ready to start in about 15 minutes and go on the air, and I was just flipped, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know what he did, man? What was the coolest thing? And it's all in my stuff somewhere. I got to dig it out. He reaches in and pops one of his silver bullets out and gave it to me.
No way.
Man.
Yes.
Holy wow.
And I'm going to tell you, but for a young boy growing up, and my dad, my granddaddy, he was around all these just incredible musicians. And I was like a sponge. I soaked all that stuff in. I couldn't stand it. You know what I mean?
Right.
In his band, he had a guitar player named Dean O'Neill. And Dean O'Neill played left-handed. And I just thought in my head, man, that was the coolest thing I ever seen in my life.
Wow.
You know? Well, I've got my dad's original J45 from about probably in the mid to late 40s.
Beautiful.
My better half has taken it away from me because she loves that thing and swears up and down that, of course, it's got my daddy's mojo on it.
Yeah, it's
And
magic.
she swears
Right.
up and down every time she picks it up. She writes a song. So that guitar seemed so big to me at the time. So what I ended up doing was I wanted to be like Dean O'Neill. So I just turned the guitar around and I started learning how to play upside down. And my daddy, not knowing what to think about this, but knowing that even though Dean had learned how to play that way, he's saying, I got to show Rickey that that's not the way to do it. That you got to play right-handed. And so I'd watch other guitar players other than Dean, and of course they're playing right-handed. So I kind of got self-conscious about it and turned the guitar over the other way. But you know what? Looking back on it, I wish I'd have stayed left-handed because all of a sudden in my life, who comes out? Jimi Hendrix.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he's playing left-handed, and I was like, oh my God, you know? But what sealed the deal for me, and I know I told you guys once I got rolling, you wouldn't be able to you couldn't shut me up.
This is perfect for us, man.
Rickey,
You got
this is
one after
exactly
another.
what we
Great.
wanted, man.
But understand, my life has been about this business.
Right.
And the stories are actually never ending. My gal, she's been trying to get me for years to write a book, not a typical rock and roll, oh, you know, I was a poor kid and then I got in a band, we made it, and I had sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and I screwed up, and now I ain't got shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's that book. Yeah.
She that kind of book, right?
Yeah.
She wanted me to write a book on stories.
Yeah.
She said, Rickey, you tell stories unbelievable, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm seriously thinking about doing that.
Oh, you definitely should.
You should. These are
Just the
Yeah.
Lone Ranger story, all that. That is just classic.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, here's the deal. What sealed the deal for me, guys, on the guitar, and probably entertainment, period. My grandfather and grandmother were really good friends with a lady named May Axton, Hoyt Axton's aunt.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
She was a songwriter. And she was in with a couple of guys and one guy named Tommy Durden, and another guy named Glenn Reeves. And she knew my dad, and she knew a lot of people around Jacksonville who were musicians. And she was a songwriter.
Yeah.
And a personality. Well, she would babysit me every once in a while. Well, Elvis was coming to town in the winter of 1956.
Whoa.
And so what May did, May and Tommy Durden had a song that they wanted to play for Elvis. So what happened was they ended up getting a meeting on the second day that he was there. He played for 2 nights at the Florida Theater. Well, she ended up getting a meeting with Elvis to play him this song that Tommy Durden, and Glenn Reeves had written. They got in to see Elvis, and they played him the song. And, of course, they wanted him to do the tune. And Elvis said, the only way that I'll do the song is if I can have 50% ridership. So they did it. They gave him 50% of the song. Lo and behold, name of the tune, Heartbreak Hotel. So what happened is that Elvis gave May tickets to the Florida Theater to see the show. Well, May couldn't go. So she gave 3 of the tickets to my dad. Right before I'm 6 years old, and not to 2 months before my 7th birthday, I'm sitting in the Florida Theater, and out comes the King.
Wow.
And Scotty Moore.
Yeah.
The drummer, the bass player, and here comes the King. This mofo, man, was dripping with coolness.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this guy had on black pants and black and white shoes, black shirt undone with a gold lame jacket on, and he had that guitar, and he was strutting his stuff, and the girls are absolutely going batshit crazy, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I'm 6 years old and I'm watching all this.
Oh yeah.
And I go, damn, I want some of this. Hey, sign me up. You know what I mean? And so when we left the show that night, we get in the car. My daddy had a 54 Chevrolet, 3 in the tree, as they called it.
Yeah.
And for all you people out there don't know what 3 in the tree is, it's a gear shift. You're in first, second, third, 3 in the tree. So we're on our way home, and I'm in between my mom and my dad. And my dad looks over at me, and he says, son, what did you think of that tonight? And I went, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. And I never looked back. That's all I ever wanted to do. And I worked at it, and I worked at it, and I worked at it. And lo and behold, wouldn't you know it, Skynyrd, about 6, 7 years ago, we recorded 2 nights. We recreated the Pronounce record and the Nothing Fancy record. We filmed it in the Florida Theater.
Wow.
And I remember that first afternoon. I went out into the Florida Theater and sat pretty well in the middle on the 3rd row of where I had sat as a 6-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And it was like I could hear it in my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I never looked back. I never once thought in my life that I was ever going to do anything else. I knew that's what I was going to do. All I ever wanted to do was play music. And here's the deal. Understand, guys, I didn't get into music. I didn't get into music to be a rock star. I got into music because I love the art. And I got into music because I love the art of music. My granddaddy told me, he said, when he first came and saw me singing and playing guitar on stage with Foot back in 78, 79, we were touring. We brought him out at the Coliseum for him to blow the harmonica on Train.
Yeah.
In Jacksonville. And I remember after the show that night, my daddy standing there, and my mom gave me a hug. And she said, I'm just so proud of you, Don. And my daddy looked at me and he said, you want me to tell you something, boy? I said, yeah, Pop, what is it? He goes, when you came out of your mama, God gave you an extra special kiss. And you should be thankful for that. And I've always remembered that, you know? And I've never looked back. I mean, I've made some, you know, as we all do, guys. I mean, I've made some bad decisions in my life, but I've made some good decisions. And the one great decision that I've made is to never, ever let go of what you really are. And that's it.
Wow, fantastic, man.
Wow.
So we're dumbfounded here.
Yeah.
I mean, you really got your shit together, man. You know?
Well, you know what, man?
It's so cool.
Yeah, we just like to hang out and talk, and you just really just that was touching too. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
oh my God,
wow,
A great philosophy.
yeah. I don't mean to leave too much space there in dead air, but and he just I made me think for a minute. like wait a minute, I'm doing this all wrong.
Yeah.
You know, you if you really want to know, I give all the credit. I really do. I give all the credit to my folks. They sacrificed a lot for me to be able to do what I did and to play music. They made sure that I was given the freedom to excel in music. And the only thing, you know, that they ask of me when I was growing up, you know, my granddaddy told me, he said, let me tell you something. You can play all that music that you want to play. But he goes, the only thing I ask you is you to finish school. I want you to finish school and then, you know, play all the music you want to play. And I told him, okay, Dad, I agree. I'll do that, you know. And I made really good grades in school. Got into trouble, you know, like every school kid does.
Right.
Partly because I was native and I didn't like being called Featherhead, you know.
Oh wow.
And you know, I mean, hey, it happens. Redskin, Featherhead, you know, whatever.
Yeah, so you faced that too. God Almighty, man.
Well, you know, hey, look, you know what, man? Kids all through teenage, they're cruel. Kids are cruel.
Yeah, we know.
I mean, man, I was cruel. I know I was. You know, we talked about it in Skynyrd, how many fights, you know, that we always got in. Maybe that's why my damn hands hurt so bad nowadays. You know?
Right.
But my parents let me go, and which leads me to a really interesting story.
Okay.
About what happened right before I was to graduate school. Excuse me. We're at the dining room table, and I'm just about to turn 18 years old, and going to graduate in 1968 from high school. And we get to the dinner table, and if you understood, my ma was a very prim and proper Southern woman. My granddaddy Shorty, he was hard edge, rough house, hard nosed. He had these little stubby arms that looked like Popeye, and on the end of it felt like a mule's hoof kicking you. And I felt that a couple of times, believe me, and it didn't feel good. So, but it taught me to be a man real quick. Well, we're at the dinner table, and I sit down, at the dinner table, and my ma, she says the blessing and everything, and so we're sitting there and we're starting to eat and everything, and I look over and my ma puts her fork and her knife down. I'm thinking, well, that's odd, So she goes, son, have you given any thought to next year about when you graduate school, about maybe furthering your education in college here in town, junior college, maybe a couple of years. So in case the music thing doesn't work out, you've got something to fall back on. And about that time, I hear clang, my dad putting his fork down or whatever. My mom put hers down softly, not him. Boom. And he looks up at my ma and he goes, Juanita, have you looked at him a lot lately? Have you taken a real good look at him? She goes, well, yeah. He goes, look at him right now. He's got all that chocolate hair, them blue eyes, that dark skin. He's tall, he's thin, he's good looking. And we got so many girls calling this house all the time asking for him. Do you really think he's going to go to school to become a lawyer or a doctor or an accountant? He goes, hell no. First thing he's going to do when he gets that diploma, he's going to pick up that guitar, pack a few clothes, and he's down the road.
Did she not hear about the Elvis thing? Is that the problem?
And my mom.
That was good.
It was so funny because my mom's just looking at him like, I really didn't need to hear that.
Yeah.
I really didn't need to hear that. So the rest is history. You know what I mean? Needless to say, I think there's some people glad that I didn't become a doctor. So.
Oh, that's so great, man.
That is fantastic.
Hey, so drummer for Skynyrd.
Like you originally started out being, an original member, like in 72, 73 or something, but you were a drummer.
71.
71.
So I mean, you were playing guitar, you were playing drums, you were singing, you were just working your ass off. Is that what you were doing at that point? I mean, just everything.
And can I say one thing? Can you leave some type of job for the rest of us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, guys.
And still looking good. That's really irritating.
Yeah.
Well, 70 years has been pretty good to me, I think,
Absolutely.
I think my biological father was a damn good-looking man, Whereas my biological mother would say he was a good-looking bastard, But
it's been said of us. Just the bastard part.
But,
yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting. Started playing banjo when I was 3. Took up playing guitar when I was 5. Started playing drums when I was 8. I fell into drumming because my dad, in his bands, he had a drummer. He had a drummer in the band, and in his band, and his name was Charlie Satterwhite. Charlie Satterwhite was a cool dude, had platinum blonde hair, butch haircut, and these baby blue eyes, and boy, the girls loved him. Plus, he had a 1950 Ford lowrider. And that was the coolest thing I ever thought in the world,
Yeah.
I want to play drums, drive a car like that, so the girls love me, so I took up playing drums. Well, Charlie left. And when I was about, 10 years old, 11 years old, I think, I was playing drums in my daddy's bands. And I can't even tell you now how long I actually stayed playing drums, but it was a pretty good while, because he, ended up getting another drummer and, all that kind of good stuff. And then when they would leave, I'd play drums for him again. I would go back to playing drums for him. Well, what's interesting is when Blackfoot got together. Blackfoot was formed out of two bands. The band that I was in and Greg and Charlie, we had a band together with a keyboard player by the name of Ronnie Chebarassi. And we, at the time, this was during the 60s, late 60s. We were into a band called Spirit.
Yeah. No,
and I love that band.
Great
Randy
band.
California and those
great
guys.
front man. Another great front man.
So what happened was we got together a band and we called it Fresh Garbage after the song. Now, a band called Fresh Garbage would go over great nowadays,
Yeah, nowadays.
Well, then Jack and a keyboard player that we would have, they had a good Jack and DeWitt Gibbs, and this keyboard and this guitar player, they had a group called Tangerine. Well, we would all play the same clubs, even Skynyrd, when they were called 1%. We played the same clubs around town, teen clubs and Bottle Club and, the Comic Book Club and Woodstock Youth Center and Good Shepherd, all these places, So one day, we're at a music store, Paulus Music in Jacksonville. And Greg, Charlie, and I said, you know what, man? Why don't we talk to Jack and DeWitt and see about merging both the bands together? Well, we talked to Jack and DeWitt, and they thought it was a good idea. Yeah, let's do something different now, So we merged. We got rid of our keyboard player, and they got rid of their guitar player. And when we first started out, I was just being a stand-up singer. I was a front man standing up with just a microphone and a microphone stand.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. And, for back then, it was really cool because you had your Robert Plants and your, you had your Deep Purple. And this was before Ian Gillan.
Okay.
This is with the other guy,
Yeah.
I think his name was Rod Evans or something like that.
Yeah. Hush. The Husher.
Yep.
Stuff.
Oh, listen.
Yeah.
I love that
Absolutely.
band.
Yeah, that was a great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was just a stand-up front man up front, and I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's what got me into into being a front guy. Well, lo and behold, we were playing at a club in Gainesville, Florida called Dubs. And a gal came in on her vacation in New York, there in the city. And she was from Gainesville. And she came into Dubs. And she heard us. She worked for a subsidiary label of Columbia. And it was called Bell Records.
Yeah. Okay.
And she wanted us to come to the city and stay at her flat and develop and record a record for Bell Records. that she could get us signed and the whole bit. Well, now here I am. I'm 19 years old, and Jack is 18, and Greg is 18. DeWitt, I think, was my age. Here we are, young teenagers, right before our, and we loaded up our van with a trailer. Greg had a 1968 Charger that I wish I had.
Yeah, too.
Because those things are worth a big dollar.
Big bucks.
So off we went. And I remember leaving my mom and dad, and my mom just cried, My daddy said, boy, you're going to one of the biggest cities in the world. And he goes, I hope everything goes well. Well, we get there. Well, the girl that, and I won't say no names or anything, but the girl that invited us up there, the woman, invited us up there. She lived in the East Village. We moved onto number 13 St. Mark's Place.
Oh, Jesus.
Between 2nd and 3rd.
Right.
2 blocks down from the Fillmore East.
Yeah.
3 doors down from the Electric Circus. I mean, we were in the midst of it in 1969.
Wow.
I mean, we saw anybody who was anybody. We went to the Fillmore. We saw bands. We started playing in New York, out on Long Island. And do y'all ever remember hearing of a place called My Father's Place?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right around the corner from where I am.
I played My Father's Place.
I played there too with that
place back then.
Yeah.
I was much later, but I did play there.
So, we stayed in the city.
Yeah.
We worked in and out of there. Well, things were kind of going a little sideways because you guys are going to love this. We were offered a record, a demo, and the demo was Knock 3 Times. Knock 3 times.
Yes.
Tony Orlando. Yes, bring it.
Here's the deal. Nancy brought us this song. And I'm sitting there listening to this demo. And I'm looking around at the band going, are you freaking kidding me? This is what we came all the way up here and starved for Knock 3 times? Huh? I was the first one to voice my opinion saying, hell no, we ain't doing this. Well, they kind of got Nancy kind of got the ass at us. Well, we moved out of the city out into New Jersey, Randolph Township. We moved out there. DeWitt, he couldn't take it no more, so he quit. So we were a 4-piece band. And the first job that we played as a 4-piece band was at a Chinese restaurant in Morristown, New Jersey.
It's still there, probably.
For an organization that was having a dinner party down in the basement and needed a band, a live band. They needed a live band, but not this live band.
Right.
And we struck up and we were playing, and it was freaking loud. Okay. And the one thing I can remember, the little Chinaman running up to me and the band screaming, volume too loud, volume too loud. And he said, you cut down volume or I cut you off.
God. That's great. Oh,
so,
Ricky.
we kept right on going. We ain't gonna turn down, you know.
Right.
Tell us what to do.
So the deal is, we started the next song. He runs up, why I'm too loud, why I'm too loud, you know. So he goes, I cut you off now. So he goes running back. So we reached back and turned up. You know, you know. Well, we got fired, and
Okay.
we got fired. We didn't get paid. The guy that was running the dinner party told us that we were the most horrendous thing he'd ever heard. And we said, well, could we at least eat, you know? So they gave us a bunch of Chinese food and kicked us out of the place. You know. Thus, Blackfoot born. The 4-piece. Well, we were called Hammer. And then we found out there was a band in England called Hammer. Well, we had to change our name. Here's a good one for you. We changed our name to Free.
Oh.
Believe it or not,
Wow.
we changed our name to Free. And as soon as we did, we're over at some friend's house outside of Morristown. They break out a new record. They go, God, you got to hear this new record. All of a sudden, they put it on. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. I know where this is going.
Yeah.
Oh, who's this? They turned around. Free.
Yeah.
So we had
And
to
you know
change our
what?
name. We had to
They
change
didn't-
the name again.
They didn't suck, so you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
No, they didn't suck.
Yeah.
So, and of course, back then, man, I fell in love with Paul Rogers' voice, you know.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Who couldn't?
So, and I still love his voice. And
Today.
Yeah.
I'm proud to say, after all these years, he's a great friend of mine.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
that's good.
Fantastic.
And so we toss around ideas, man. We're going, oh my God, man. We moved to this rock and roll hotel in Randolph Township. And it was called the Royal Hotel. And it was old. It was an old abandoned hotel that on the weekends drew all the really ritzy people from New York would come out there and get rooms. They had a great big ballroom down by the Olympic-sized pool. And, man, this place was like walking in time, like you were walking back in, the late 40s, 50s. And the ballroom had this great big glass crystal chandeliers and all this stuff, And believe it or not, man, it had turned into a hippie pad. There was freaking hippies everywhere living in those rooms. We just took up residence. And he would charge us so much a week for our rooms. We said, hey, this is great. We could rehearse in the ballroom. It was killer. And we existed there. Well, what we ended up doing, we're with Jack one day, and we're sitting around kicking around names and, all that stuff. Jack was the guy that came up with the name Blackfoot. Now, Jack was native.
Okay.
And Greg is. And we thought that it fit the music that we were playing and the image that we were kind of going for, It was heavy. And so it stuck. And from there on out, there we were. Well, we kicked around New Jersey and we kicked around Pennsylvania and New York and Long Island and Connecticut. And man, we were doing, okay back then. We were starting to draw crowds. And what was really funny is that back in those days, that was the period during what they call the glam bands back then. You had the New York Dolls and
Right.
Twisted Sister had gotten together and all these bands, Well, lo and behold, here comes this little old band out of nowhere. That's all these long hairs with cowboy boots on and jeans and, you know, low slung guitars and Marshalls and playing loud ass rocking, buddy. People in New Jersey and Pennsylvania and all around surrounding here, all those wood guys, they come out to woodwork. The real rockers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This wasn't no glam band. Come on, guys. This ain't a glam band for your ass. Get down here and see this. Well, we were playing colleges, you know, and all that stuff. Well, we had moved out of, man, we were moving around everywhere. We lived in Morristown. We lived in Denville. We lived in Dover. We lived in Hackettstown. Finally, we moved out to Princeton. And we were living in Princeton at the original governor's mansion. And there was a couple of bands living there as well. It was like a commune. Well, things had gotten kind of really weird between the manager and one of the members of the band, and favoritisms was being played and all that. And I really lost it. I just kind of went, I don't have it for this anymore. I don't, you know, I didn't have it. I'd given up. It seemed like it was pulling the band apart and, you know, so forth. So what I did was, I had Alan Collins' number, and I called Alan. And I said, Alan, you guys need a roadie. Somebody to set the equipment up, or, you know, drive a truck, or loads, whatever. He goes, you still play drums? Because, man, you were always good playing drums. I said, I can still play drums. Well, guys, I hadn't sat on a set of drums in quite a few years, you know what I mean?
This part of the story,
yeah, Jack, we all know this one.
We know the answer is yes.
Yeah.
The answer is always yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you play slide guitar? Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Jack was a better drummer than me, so, you know. So, Alan goes, Ricky, you need to call Ronnie. And I said, oh, well, okay. So he gave me Ronnie's number, and I called up Ronnie, and Ronnie answered the phone. And I said, Ronnie? He goes, yeah, man. Who is this? I said, Rickey Medlocke. He said, hey, Ricky, how you doing? I said, okay, I guess. And I said, Alan told me, I called Alan and told him what I was thinking. And I said, do you guys need need somebody to maybe roadie for you guys and set up the equipment and, you know, drive the truck or whatever? He goes, do you play drums still?
Yes.
So I said, yeah, I do. And he said, Bob Burns is leaving us. He's having problems and he's going away, and we need a drummer because we're starting our first record in Muscle Shoals, Alabama in 2 weeks. And I said, really? He goes, yeah. He said, how quick can you be here? I said, well, I'll have to get a plane ticket, you know, to get down to Jacksonville. He says, I'll get you the plane ticket. And I said, okay. Well, I sold off my amp up there and a couple of things, but I kept my guitars. And so I went to the airport, got on an airplane, told the band I was leaving.
Wow.
And I said, you guys can have it. I don't want to be a part of it anymore. And I explained my reason why. So I went to Jacksonville and I got off the plane, and there's Ronnie, Gary, and Alan. They met me. We loaded up in the van. We went to my mom and dad's place. I rolled up to my mom and dad's, you know, to our house over on Phyllis Street in Jacksonville. Well, we had known the Van Zants from Ronnie's mom and dad coming out to my daddy's shows. So Ronnie immediately, you know, struck up a conversation with my dad about, music and playing the blues and all that stuff, you know. So I went inside, put my stuff down, freshened up, hugged my mom. She was so glad to see me.
Yeah.
And, you know, visited with her for a few minutes. And I said, Mom, I'm going with Ronnie, Gary, and Alan. We're going to Green Cove Springs, and we're going to start rehearsals tonight. She goes, tonight? I said, yep. I said, I got to be ready in 2 weeks to record with the guys. They're going to Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and start their first record. We went that night. Larry Johnstrom was the bass player. There were no keyboards in the band at the time. And it was just it was the five of us. And we started working on songs. They started showing me their material. Now, understand, I hadn't heard none of their songs. So they start showing me. I said, here's what we do, guys. Just turn down and start showing me the tunes and let me kind of get into the groove factor of it. And let me kind of start writing drum parts, you know. And that's the way we did it. 2 weeks later, I was sitting my ass in Muscle Shoals recording what would later become Lynyrd Skynyrd's first and last record.
Wow.
And then the box set of the Muscle Shoals sessions.
Wow.
Wow.
And, you know, produced by Jimmy Johnson and David Hood. And that's the way that went, you know.
Tremendous. Wow.
Wow. I actually even found a picture of you playing drums for them. I just popped it up on the screen. You can't see it, but it's pretty cool.
Well, you know
it
what,
is black and white. Imagine it's an old enough picture.
there's that chocolate-haired Indian, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was so funny about me? My gal often tells me, she said, God, you were skinny, you know. Well, all of us were.
We all were.
And me and Alan Collins used to trade pants back and forth because he wore the same size I did, and he was a little bit taller than me, but not that much. And he was 6'3", and I'm 6'2.5". So we used to swap stage pants together. You know what I mean? God, how funny!
Wow, great stuff.
Yeah, man,
unbelievable.
So what? After that, I played.
So what happened then?
Well, we went to Muscle Shoals several times, and it was a great experience. I mean, a lot of those old recordings, I listen to them now, and I relive it. And here, a couple of winters ago, Stacy was going to do a session in Muscle Shoals with a young group called Bishop Gunn out of Mississippi, and they were recording she recorded their first album with them, and then she was going to do their second album with them. So I went with her, you know, so she could do the sessions, and I hadn't been to Muscle Shoals in many years. And I had heard that the Muscle Shoals Sound Studios was, you know, you could record there, but it was like kind of like a museum at the time, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
So one day, Stacy had finished her sessions, and we said our goodbyes to the band and all that stuff that she was recording with. And I said, let's go by Muscle Shoals Sound Studios.
Yeah.
She goes, okay. Well, let's rewind to 1996 after I'd gotten back with Lynyrd Skynyrd this time. We decided we were going to cut the new record. It was the 20th anniversary of Lynyrd Skynyrd. So we were going to cut Lynyrd Skynyrd's, it was called Lynyrd Skynyrd 20. We decided we wanted to cut in Muscle Shoals at the, of course, the new Muscle Shoals Sound Studio, which is on the river, on the bluff, overlooking the Tennessee River. It's not the one on, it wasn't the one on 3614 Jackson Highway.
Right.
Pardon me. So we go there to record. Well, I had heard that the studio had just gone to hell in a handbasket. I heard that a man owned it. It was basically a junkyard and a junk place. Now I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, all this history in that building, all these great people that had been there and had recorded there.
Aretha. I mean,
Dwayne Allman.
Right, Dwayne.
The Rolling Stones.
The Stones, yeah. I mean,
Rod Stewart.
Jesus.
Yeah, Rod Stewart.
Atlantic Crossing. Bob Seger.
Right.
The Staple Singers. God. Wilson Pickett.
Wilson Pickett.
Otis Redding.
Yeah. Just
there
a few
it is.
names.
Yeah, you know what? Burn the place down.
Yeah.
And I drove up to it and I went, really? Really? This is sacrilegious. Well, I heard that the bathroom door, little bathroom door that sat out, the bathroom was out in the main part of the studio. That the bathroom door that every artist that had ever recorded there had signed. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
I heard the door was still hanging there.
You did.
And I said, you know what?
I'm taking the
I'm
door.
going to go there and see if the old guy that owns the place will sell it to me and Gary. Pull up, and that old bastard come out of that place, and he says, "What are you doing here?" I said, I'm a member of the band Lynyrd Skynyrd, and we're over at the other Muscle Shoals Sound, and I wanted to come over and see if by chance you still had the bathroom door in there, if you'd like to sell it. He said, "Hell no, I ain't selling it." He goes, "That's my damn retirement." He goes, "I know what that door is all about. There's been a lot of people here wanting that door, and I ain't about to give it to nobody." Okay, cracker. All right. And you never know about people, man. I mean, pulled out a piece, man, and shot me in the ass with it.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Well, I had heard later that somehow a guy had acquired the door and was wanting to sell it, and I heard that Keith Richards got a hold of him, and Keith has it.
Really?
That's what I. Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
That could absolutely be true.
Oh
Yeah.
man, all of our names in Skynyrd, it's on the door. I think Ronnie carved his name on the door.
Wow.
But man, so after I had played with the guys for a good while, my respiratory system ended up kind of, being a kind of a debilitating factor in playing drums. And I went to Ronnie. I'd been with him for about 2.5 years, and it was going smooth. I mean, man, we were playing and doing well, And I really wanted to play guitar again, and I, wanted to sing again. And I went to Ronnie and the guys, and I said, "Guys," I said, "I'm going to have to bow out." And I knew in my heart, it was a hard decision, but I knew in my heart that it was the right thing to do, the right decision, because first of all, I knew that they needed somebody better than me, stronger than me, with better staying power. And I bowed out. Ronnie said, Rickey, I understand. I understand what you're saying. And, you know, I remained friends with him. Well, I had talked to my granddad, Shorty, and my granddad said, Rickey, there's something about them boys and about that singer that they're going to make it. I think they're going to make it. And if you leave and they make it and you don't, I just want you to realize that's probably going to haunt you the rest of your life.
Right.
And I thought about it long and hard, but I knew it was the right decision for me and for them. So I bowed out. Well, I was without a gig. Finally, I was cutting lawns in Jacksonville for the city department, parks department. I didn't have a gig. It was driving me nuts. Boy, I didn't know what I was going to do, you know. And finally, I came home one day and Jack was there. And Jack said, hey, bro, how are you? And I said, man, I'm good. I've missed you, you know. He said, yeah, I've missed you too. He said, can we take a ride? I want to talk to you. I said, yeah. So we took a ride. And we had a really heartfelt conversation. Now, keep in mind, Jack and I, and Greg, we all went through elementary school, junior high, high school. And Jack was like a brother. I mean, my mom and dad loved him, and he loved them. It was like it's like they had another son. Well, we went out and he said, Charlie and I are living in Reidsville, North Carolina, which is right 20 miles from Greensboro. And we have a bass player of a guy named Lenny Stadler. And Lenny is a good bass player and he sings. Oh, okay. And Jack said, we want you to come back and play guitar and front the band and lead the band. And I said, I didn't even hesitate. I said, Jack, I'll do it. Absolutely. I'll do it. Went home, told my mom and dad that I was going to be leaving. And my dad looked at me, he said, are you happy about this? I said, you know what? I said, what do you think, Dad? He goes, this is what you need to do. You know? I quit the city parks department. Told him to take the lawnmower and go ride it somewhere else, not on me. I said, you know, well, much the last thing y'all see of my ass will be going out that door, you know. So, packed my clothes, Jack and I, off we went. We were in the band van. They had acquired a van, and so we drove up to Greensboro, Reidsville, and we went and stayed with our bass player, Lenny. His mother and dad had a big house, and his daddy had a music store and built Marlin steel guitars. Okay. Now, there's some of those Marlin steel guitars still around nowadays. I've seen a couple of vintage ones, and they go for a pretty good bit of money.
Yeah.
Because there's no more. Well, we got the band together. Man, we started playing. I mean, we were playing. Make a long story short, we were living in Reidsville. Next thing you know, Lenny has an awakening of a religious sort, and he quit the band. Greg was in New York City playing with none other than the group called the Tokens that had The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
Yep.
So we got a hold of him and said, this is what we're doing. You want in or you want out? I'm in. Greg comes back. Thus, there's your Blackfoot.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, this is in right after, not too long after I had left Skynyrd and I'd been without a gig for 3 months. And we started right back up where we left off. We rehearsed at the big house, and we had it all set up, man. And we took right back up where we'd left off. In 1974, I get a hold of Jimmy Johnson that had produced Skynyrd. Told him that we had the band. He said, send me some of your demos. Sent him the demos. He said he'd like to record a record on us and get a deal. Thus came the No Reservations record. We went in that was in 1975. 76, we cut another record, Flying High. Both of those did only vinyl. They didn't do platinum or gold or concrete or anything. They did so that was it.
In black plastic, yes.
So, what ended up going on after that, we kicked around, man, and we were in New Jersey, and to make another long story short, believe it or not, and I got photos from it, we had a manager from up in Jersey. God rest his soul, he's passed away now, so I won't say bad about him, but it wasn't the right coupling. And we had it with managers. Before I had my manager that I got now, Al, we had gone through 8 managers. And we were sick of managers, Right. Nothing but lies and bullshit. Promises not kept. And hell, Indians know about promises not kept. Believe me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I looked at signing the contract with a manager, it was like signing a peace treaty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're hurting for something to happen. We were playing, we had the 2 albums out. Our manager was booking us all throughout Texas, all throughout the Carolinas, all throughout New Jersey and New York, Pennsylvania. And we were making that circuit all the time. Well, all of a sudden, he got an offer for us to be the backing band of Ruby Starr. Ruby had sang with, of course, Black Oak, Arkansas.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And had been on the record, Jim Dandy to the Rescue. Well, she had her own records out. Ruby Starr and Grey Ghost. Well, she needed a backing band, and we needed work. So we agreed to be her backing band. She met us in Jacksonville, Florida. We started working on the material. We got the material together. So what would happen was Blackfoot would come out and play the first show.
Okay.
Now, if you can imagine this. Blackfoot would come out and play this first show, and at the end of Blackfoot, we'd come back out and I'd introduce, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Ruby Starr. She would come out. Now, she's the headliner, not us, her.
Right.
What was really funny was we're going out there and we're playing this, and I'm standing on stage just going, God, is this what have we got ourselves into? You know?
I've had nights like that.
I was like, Jesus, you know. Well, it all culminated, that whole thing culminated in Lake Tahoe. And a big blow up, big explosion, you know, between her and her road manager and the four of us. And we left. But before that, what was cool, we had played a gig with Golden Earring, Black Oak, Arkansas, Brownsville Station, and it was us. We opened the show. Brownsville Station's manager, who is Al, and he had produced Smoking in the Boys' Room and all that stuff, he was there. And our old manager invited him there to see, you know, Ruby Starr, you know, with his band Blackfoot backing her. And Al comes out and watches us and kept asking our manager at the time, who's the guy playing the reverse body Firebird with all that dark hair, and you know. And you know, our manager goes, oh, that's Rickey Medlocke. He's the singer for Blackfoot, you know, when they come out and open for Ruby. And Al said, hell, man, they need to kick Ruby off the stage, let this guy go. You know? So that night after our show, Al waited for Brownsville Station to get on the stage and go to playing. Well, what happened is that Al comes back in the dressing room, and he comes back there. And our manager at the time said, hey, guys, I want to introduce you to somebody. Well, my back was to him, and Jack is in front of me, and we're by these locker doors because it was an arena. And I can tell you exactly where it was. It was in Dayton, Ohio, at the arena there. And it was 1977. Winter of 78. Pardon me. So he goes, I want to introduce you to this guy. He wants to meet y'all because he might want to take over as manager. And I remember turning around and looking, and I went, yeah, right. Him and about 100 others.
Okay.
You know, I said,
yeah.
I looked at our manager and I said, get the hell out of here, man. You know? He goes, no, man, I'm serious. He goes, at least say hello to him. And so I turned around and Jack and I shook his hand. Hey, how you doing? Well, he started talking to me, and he started making great sense. I mean, no build up, no promises, no nothing. Just logical business sense. And we left that night, and and then we were off with Ruby going wherever we were going to go, only for it to culminate in Tahoe, and we quit, left her, and with hard feelings, her freaking out, screaming at us, but whatever. So I began talking to him over a period of time, and he began asking me all these questions about, we were tied up with our current manager. Yeah, well, I don't know how much. Come to find out, guys, our contract had gone up with our current manager, and Al got us for nothing. He was able to get us for free. Well, lo and behold, Al's sister, Maureen Nally, she was, along with Doug Morris, was starting to crank Atco Records back up again.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, we're in New Jersey again, living in New Jersey. Gosh damn. You know, once again, I'm back in Jersey. We're living in Jersey, and we had gone up there, man, and started kicking. I mean, really kicking the footlights out. We had come back to Jersey, and all those backwoods rock and rollers from everywhere in Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Long Island, they were coming out in droves. Well, Al had Doug Morris, his sister Reen, and somebody else from Atlantic told them to go out and see the band. They're playing at a place called the Show Place in Dover, New Jersey. Dude, they got there, and the freaking line was out the door all the way around the building.
Yeah.
People trying to get in. Well, we got Doug and them in, and it was elbows to assholes in this place. And we came on, and we lit into it, bros.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the music back then, man. Charlie and I, for clubs, but we knew how to do it. We knew.
Oh yeah.
We had 2 Marshalls apiece.
Yes.
Greg had 2 SVTs.
Yes.
One of the heaviest freaking club bands that the good Lord ever put on earth. And we were playing heavy stuff, man. I'm talking about heavy material.
Yeah.
You know, we were writing heavy material.
Oh yeah.
And we loved heavy rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, we played with the Good Rats every once in a while.
Love those guys.
Yeah, man, those were great guys,
Those are our
man.
guys
I loved
here.
it.
Those
I
are our
loved
guys.
those
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Doug and Reen and the other guy from Atlantic, I forget what his name is now, they stood there and people, it was pandemonium in this place,
Yeah.
this club. People were standing on the bars, and, you know, people set a glass down and somebody kicked the damn thing over and, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
I mean,
That was Joey.
Yeah,
Dude.
probably.
dude, I got a friend of mine. I'm still friends with him to this very day. He comes out and sees Skynyrd all the time. I love the guy. And he used to come see us all these. He would stick his head in the bass bin.
nice head full of 18-inch folded horn.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, when we finished, we're in the show, and we finished the show. And Doug and Reen and the other guy had left, and we said, "Oh shit," you know. They didn't even come back to say hello. I guess we run them out.
Yeah. Know that thought too.
That night, Doug gets back to New York City to his place at 2:30, almost 2:45 in the morning. He calls Al in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and said, "Al, what do you want for the band?" Al said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "We've never seen anything like that." He said, "What a rock and roll band." He goes, "That singer," he said, I've never seen anything like that. You know? Well, I cut my teeth on Steve Marriott, you know, Paul Rogers,
Yeah.
Right.
Robert Plant, Rod Stewart. I mean, great ones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The great ones. And before I went to join Lynyrd Skynyrd the first time in 71, I went to the Fillmore East and saw Humble Pie cut their live record.
Wow.
Humble Pie live.
Yeah.
I mean, I seen one of my heroes, Steve Marriott, fall over backwards on his back singing "I Don't Need No Doctor." You know, that was the coolest damn thing I'd ever seen in my life. You know? Right. So I cut my teeth on that. So Doug said, "This guy is unbelievable. We want a record. We want a deal." There you go. We signed to Atco. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to cut a good Southern rock record, but what we wanted, our plan is that you buy the record and you love the record and you go, God, I got to see these guys, right? But then when you come to see us live, it was pin your hair back. You know?
Right.
We wanted to blow your hair straight back and make your ears just vibrate. And that's what we did. And in being a front man, I was just uninhibited. I mean, I had no inhibitions whatsoever.
Ricky, you're a force of nature on stage watching it.
Yeah.
I mean,
watching videos and stuff.
Yeah,
man.
dude. I mean, just, you know, because look, you've been in Skynyrd for 25, 26 years. You know, we have that image, right? And that, you know, we love that. But, you know, I mean, God damn it, when Train came on the radio in your car, you were breaking the windows because you had to turn that shit up. It was so amazing. And then we go back, because we're having the interview with you, we go back and start looking at some of the stuff. Dude, you were a monster. You were. I couldn't even believe when you said I didn't have the energy to keep up with the drums. Well, the energy you have on stage is phenomenal, like a hurricane.
Absolutely.
Well, here's the thing. I was one of these guys that if I didn't see somebody down in front rocking out and everything, I'd tell somebody, hey, man, punch that guy in the face and wake him up. You know?
Oh, yeah.
I was one of, I mean, I was full tilt, you know, all the time.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you just how full tilt that it got to be. My poor mom and dad, boy, it's so funny, man. One night we're in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And man, I used to love making the audience feel like they were right there with us.
Yeah.
Right.
On the stage. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, man. And you do it, but go
And
ahead.
then we had a night that night, man, that was unbelievable. And it was building, and it was building, and it was building. And I felt it. I said, oh, boy, this is going to culminate in something that's almost, you know, apocalyptic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, man, we go into train, and what I did, the harmonica was on, and right when we lit into it, and we all of a sudden I would drop my hands from the guitar, turn the guitar down, drop my hands, and I had this rap that I would go into.
Yeah.
And right at the end of that rap, I would say, right when we'd go into the I would go in, let's get up, you know?
Yeah.
And right when I said it, all hell broke loose in that arena. They started fighting. They started ripping chairs up. It was like a great big 10,000-seater barroom brawl.
Wow.
Well, we went running.
Come on in, kids.
And the building manager had the cops corner me, that I started a riot, that I, you know, whatever. Well, it made the nightly news.
Wow.
My mom, dad, this is, dude. The next morning, my dad's up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
He turns on the news, and the news came on. Last night in Colorado Springs, Colorado, where the group Blackfoot was performing, the lead singer, it got out of hand with him, and a riot broke out, destroying properties, and such a people was injured and cut glass and this and that. Oh my God, you know.
But you felt that building up during the show. Yeah.
So,
Wow.
believe it or not, they closed that building from then on. My dad, I called that morning, and my dad answers the phone, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Pop. He goes, uh-huh. You got something you want to tell me? Like what? He goes, uh-huh. How much money came out of your pocket for this one? I said, oh, you're talking about the riot last night? He goes, yeah. I said, Pop, no money came out of my pocket. I didn't get arrested. I said, I just was doing my thing, and they decided that they wanted to fight. My old man goes, well, it wouldn't have anything to do with right before you go into the main part of the song, you going, let's F it up, would it?
Call you on that.
And you know what, man? He had told me years ago, boy, you really got a thing for them two words, F and mother F, don't you?
Yeah.
He goes, you say it with such authority. You know?
Such authority.
Oh, like you really meant it.
Yeah.
I remember back.
That, you know, to me, being a front man was just, you know, I loved it. I mean, I loved it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and,
we had one question on Train. I mean, you know,
yeah,
that for guitar players.
Okay, yeah, we're back to guitar parts.
Yeah, this is, you know, that song is just phenomenal. You know, I know it's not a difficult song. It's one of those songs that just gets your blood going, though. You know.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, I shared it on my page again today, saying, man, you know, somebody commented on the video, just saying, if this doesn't get your motor going, there's something wrong with you. And I got to say it right. If that song doesn't make you feel something, you're dead. Okay. But me and Tommy were talking about it because we were both, you know, jamming the riff like, oh, we got to ask him about this. Now, I was doing it in standard tuning, and now that's not normally my thing. Usually I'm the open tuning guy. Did you do this in open tuning or in standard tuning?
Well, the slide guitar is open E.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Charlie played, you know, regular tune. My granddaddy, he was he loved, you know, when he played the dobro on his knee, as Curtis Lowe says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loved open tunings, and he showed me. He was the one that showed me about open tunings.
Wow.
He
Yeah, we're just like dumbfounded here.
Yeah. Like my grandfather.
Your
played
grandfather's a
saxophone.
legend too, you know.
Yeah. Your grandfather's like mine. Played saxophone in Boston.
he's my old man boy is something else, I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
But I'll show you when I finish this.
Yeah.
I got a really cool picture that in my phone that I got a bunch of cool pictures, but
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
but my granddaddy, I mean, I right now to this day, I mean, there's not a day that goes by, not a day that, you know, that I don't think about him.
Right.
And wish that I could sit with him one more time and play a song, you know.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something. He when when we did it, understand Train was the very last song to be recorded for the Strikes record. We were in rehearsal in New Jersey figuring out the record with our manager and producer Al Nally. And Al said, we need one more song. We need a song, an up-tempo tune, kind of a novelty tune, and, you know, that would enhance the record. And I said, oh boy, you know, and we were sitting there and just fooling around with different stuff and different licks and all that. And all of a sudden, I said, you know, my old man's got a old blues tune, kind of a Delta blues thing, that called Train. And I said, I believe I looked up at Jack. I said, Jack, you remember Train? He goes, oh, yeah. And I said, I believe that we could rearrange this tune into a rock song. And so I sat there with the guitar. Charlie was over from me, and Greg's over here, and Jack's on his drums up on the drum stand. And I started messing around with it on my Firebird. Well, I was messing with it, and I was messing with it, and
Oh no, did we lose something here?
Ricky is
Ricky, we lost Ricky's connection for a minute. Let's give it a minute here.
okay.
Maybe he'll rejoin. Hopefully. Meanwhile, we have a couple people I can do some shout outs to.
Sure, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm holding my breath. This is.
Yeah, this is great stuff. So Donna, his manager, who's doing his who does his PR, did catch up with us, and she was up watching us on YouTube. She just wanted to say hi, and I just want to let her know. Wow, she was really nice to get in touch with.
Yeah, this was amazing. Thank you so much. I know we're not the biggest show on YouTube, but we are probably the biggest heart because this is great.
Yeah, and over on Facebook we have a bunch of people watching. Antonia Silva, we know her as Tony, just said this is awesome, and I'm sitting here just in awe every moment that he's speaking, because the stories are just
amazing.
Yeah,
amazing stories.
Yeah. And we haven't even touched the staple, the other staple, Highway Song, which is
it's
we haven't even gotten to the Skynyrd yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'll do is while we're waiting to see if he's going to join back on, is I'll pop Highway Song on for us.
Yeah, pop on some stuff.
We're still live, right?
Yes, we are live. We are live.
Okay,
Let's give it a couple minutes, because this is, I know he's joining us from Florida, and I know they had a storm yesterday.
They always have storms.
Was it yesterday? It was 2 days ago. I'm sorry. And they do get quite a lot of storms. So I don't know what's going on there right now.
Yeah, I mean, to drop off like that was pretty.
Yeah, it just kind of stopped right there.
Well, for those of you enjoying this, please subscribe to our channel. Look at our
merchandise.
Buy the merchandise.
Hats.
Click the bell. Look at our links. We have links to a few things. Go back and listen to some of our older shows. We've had some great interviews. Last week, if you didn't see, it was David Grissom, amazing guitar player, great interview. Some of the other people we've had on have been great and are friends, and we're going to have some of these people back. We've also talked about the changes in New York State law as far as live performance and ticketing. So we had a show on that on Facebook. If you want to take a look at that, it was a great conversation from a few different perspectives. Some people who are very angry, some people who are making the best of what they can and trying to figure out how to maneuver through, much as I hate to say, because people hate the new normal, but for us in the music industry, it's in the gig climate, it's the new normal. And we appreciate everybody watching the show, and I appreciate Joey and Lenny too. That's what I say.
After I say goodbye, Lord, it's my way living. I can't change a thing. Another time is drawing near. Oh, baby, I wish you were here. And all I can see you, darling, is in my dreams. How about it?
Good turnout.
heard that's on your mind. Lord, in last night's show, some tickets told me.
There you are.
While the city lights
Was it something we said?
It's like,
My,
There we go.
my computer battery ran out
Oh,
because
You
I
weren't sure if
talked
there was
too
a-
much.
it was actually good. It gave us a moment
I
because
talked too much.
Hell no.
it gave us a minute to actually say really nice things about you.
Yeah, we did.
How blown away we
And,
are.
and we did we played a little bit of Highway song because everybody remembers Train, but Highways the song is did that one do better on the charts? Because I seem to remember hearing that more on the radio maybe. Wow, what
Actually,
a great song.
Well,
Yeah, that's a
actually,
beauty.
well, here's another one. So we were talking about how we got into doing Train.
Yeah.
What happened was that Train, we came up with the riff, and we worked the song up, and we recorded it, and we recorded the record that you hear, and plus several other songs that we never used. But when we turned the record in, Doug didn't like Train and Highway song. And our manager goes,
Yeah, because I have no
our
idea.
manager goes, "Are you kidding me? Those are the hits." And Doug, no. He goes, "Wishing Well" and "I Got a Line on You," that's the hits.
Those are good
And
too.
Al goes,
I mean,
no, it's not the hits. He goes, in the Southern rock world, it's going to be Train and Highway song. Well, Al said, "I tell you what we'll do, Doug. You let us put Train and Highway song on, and we'll agree to have Wishing Well and I Got a Line on You, and we'll see what happens."
Wow.
Well,
who was right? Yeah. Oh.
we win.
Hey, Ricky, you're gonna give. Can you give a shout out to two girls that are watching? And they're really
girls.
big fans. And one is Lisa,
Hi, Lisa.
and one is NJ.
NJ.
Yeah, NJ also happens to be my wife, but she's watching upstairs. So she was really thrilled that you were coming on.
Well, hey, girls, I hope that you're having a good night watching the podcast.
So we love this, man. So
Yeah.
good.
So, needless to say, the rest is history. Train, I think, hit the top 10. And I can't even remember what Highway song did, but it was up there. And
Yeah.
That's like the ultimate road ballad.
Yeah, I've had that on rotation in my car forever. I mean, it's I have whatever mix it is, but that is always on there, and it's the recording, the guitar sound stands up. I mean, it's a Les Paul into a Marshall, right? I mean, at that point, so it's
actually it was my old it's my old 76 Black Beauty
yeah.
that I've played forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bought it. Oh gosh, when did I buy that? I bought it right when we went to Ann Arbor, before we started the Strikes record in '78, and it's a '76, and it was in there. It was used, and it was in the store, and I fell in love with the thing, man. And heavy though. It's
I
I
know.
was gonna say, if it's 76, it's like a boat anchor.
Yeah, I got a 72 that's 13 and a half pounds. It is on a stand now. It's not ever to be played.
dude, you got it right on. 13 and a half pounds of mahogany wood.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Right.
pancake body too, though, those years, right? Because my
Oh,
77 was a
God.
pancake, just fucking heavy.
But they are great. I love it. I play it. That's the thing I play every day. But man, you can't strap it on.
Yeah.
Well, I played that guitar so much and had it on my shoulder so much
Yeah.
that, my God, man, it was unbelievable, And I love that old, but the black Les Paul was the rhythm on Train, and my Firebird was the slide.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm going to listen to it for that. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We are obviously, the name of our channel is Musings, Rents, and Guitars, and we end up talking about gear a lot.
Right.
I don't know if Tommy died. I had to watch your rig rundowns and stuff, because that's like we're really gear geeks here.
Yeah.
We love that shit.
But we do start with just the blasting Marshall, and then we just from everything else, is gravy on top of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
love to hear about stuff like that.
You're using Wizards now, right?
Yeah, because Marshall, when we had the great flood in Nashville.
Yeah.
Man, it was talk about making me sick.
Right.
I lost Gary and we lost some beautiful guitars. I lost a 58 Les Paul. My old Explorer and my Firebird sat in that water for 3 days. But fortunately, they sat with the butt in where like my Explorer, where the butt goes up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Right at that point, that's where the water was.
Yeah.
Same with the Firebird.
Wow. Yeah, I saw that on the rig rundown. You were showing right where it was sitting.
The line.
Cool. Of course, it was heartbreaking too.
Well, some great guys in Kentucky that own a place called RS Guitar Works.
Yeah, know them.
Yeah.
They put them back together, and they're so spot on. When I got them back, I couldn't believe it. I mean, but everybody's always known me for, everybody has known me for that guitar right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And like, for me, the Explorer has got a balance to it that it feels good to me. It feels right to me when I put it on, man. I've played one ever since the mid '70s, and it's like my dearest, oldest friend, and it's an old one, and I just I love the thing. Every night I walk out with it, I just come on, old friend, don't let me down tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Firebird, believe it or not, guys, that Firebird has got an incredible story to it. But the Firebird, actually, the one that I've played a lot all my life, come to find out, man, I had it at Gibson, and I found out it was one of about, 9 or 10 prototypes.
Oh, really?
That they made.
Yeah, I saw that rig rundown. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Too.
So you know the story.
Yeah, no,
But I
don't know if the other guys and some people would love to hear this. It's really cool.
But you know what was heartbreaking? Was losing the 2 Marshall heads that I had since all the way back.
Yeah, that would definitely.
That was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Were those the ones that were modified to go 180 watts?
You got it.
Wow.
So when you were playing in Blackfoot, I saw you at the Palladium opening for UFL in 1980.
Oh.
And I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? And you just had the audience, and New York's a hard crowd. And you came out, and no fancy clothes. It was just the music, and it was so brutal and raw and it was loud. And I thought you guys blew them off the stage that night. That was my first time in witnessing Blackfoot live, and thank you for being like the ultimate Hellraiser, because you got everybody going. But you were so loud, but not overbearingly loud. But is it true that you had your 2 modified Marshalls but 6 412 cabinets that were pumping 180 watts?
Mm-hmm.
God, that was gorgeous.
Well, here's what
Yeah.
Charlie and I worked on this. It wasn't so much that we wanted the volume.
The tone was there.
What it was, we wanted the tone. And to be able to get the tone out of a Marshall back then, I mean, you had to crank it.
Turn it up.
Oh yeah.
So what I ended up doing, guys, I ended up setting one head one way and another head the other way. And out front, when you heard it, it was just this wall of unforgiving tone.
It was crazy.
Right? Charlie was the same way. So when we hit that boom, 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 you know, we wanted people to feel it in their chest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that concussion.
Oh, we wanted it to be like a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
And we worked on that. And we had people come to see us that could not believe that Charlie and I were playing through 2 full Marshall stacks. And what we did was, I don't know if you noticed it, but I always played through straight cabinets. I didn't like playing through a slant and a straight. I played through all straights. So did Charlie, because it was the low end punch that we loved. And,
They're definitely different sounding. Yeah, no question.
Oh yeah. And you put the bass in there, 2 SVTs in there, and son, you know, you could walk the dog without having him on a leash. You know what I mean? So we formulated that sound, and that's what we loved. Well, when the flood happened and I lost those 2 Marshalls, I mean, it broke my heart.
Yeah.
They had so much history to them and had gone everywhere with me. You know? What happened was my friend, Damon Johnson.
Yeah.
Damon, great guitar player.
Oh, absolutely.
And a beautiful friend of mine. He's like a little brother. And I met him way back, you know, when Brother Kane was taking off and the whole bit. He's the one that turned me on to Wizard. And he's the one that got me in touch with Rick St. Pierre. And I called up Rick and told Rick, I've lost both my Marshalls. The people at Marshall do not want to work with me now. And, you know, I mean, here's what I say to Marshall.
There we go. There it is. That counts.
Dude, listen. Dude, I had some guy at Marshall tell me, well, we're not working with too many classic artists anymore. We're kind of leaning toward new artists today. But we could sell you, we could give you an artist discount and sell you this. I went, you know, I've been playing Marshall ever since 1969, 1970. I bought tons of Marshalls and Marshall cabinets, and now I got to hear that I'm not worth, you know, my weight in gold to this company. Oh, really? Okay. I said, thanks, but no thanks. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I called up Rick St. Pierre, and Rick had worked, at the time he was working with AC/DC, and AC/DC was using Wizard, and I called him up and told him my story. He said, what do you want? What do you like in an amp? And I said, well, tell you what I like. I said, I had an old 71 and 72 Marshall Lees, and I loved them. They were 180 watts piece. He goes, what? I said, yeah. I said, 180 clean watts. You know. And in his exact words, he said, you got to be fucking kidding me. No, I'm not kidding. So He says, I build a Wizard Vintage Classic,
Okay.
which is what you would be perfectly matched with, from what you're telling me, because it's like the old 67, 68 Plexis, like Hendrix.
Yeah.
You know? Huh, hell, I'm in, you know? He said, and I also make what is called a vintage modern classic, which has the preamp stage to it. You know, overdrive and all that stuff. So I said, no, let me try the vintage classic. Dude, do you know that guy, before he went back on the road in 3 days, he and another guy had built me 2 heads, built me 2 cabinets, and had them shipped to me right away.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Unlike the other company.
Yeah, like the other company.
Yeah. That wanted to just give you an artist discount.
Yeah. So Rick St. Pierre, he sent them all to me. And I got to tell you guys, I cranked it up the first time and went, oh my God, this is a Marshall. Well, guess no 6550s in it. EL34s.
Right.
Yeah.
And those EL34s, you know, they burn hot.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And the hotter the tubes get, the better off the transformer sounds and the better the tone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've been all about Wizards. My much appreciation goes out to Rick St. Pierre for him helping me in a most desperate time. And I'll be indebted to him forever.
That's
Wow.
Wow, that's incredible.
so. The Wizards you are using right now have no master volume. They are just straight up super leads.
Straight up.
Only way to go.
Love it, man.
I love, you know,
That's how you do it.
Johnny Van Zant will tell me all that.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely give a shout out to the guy from Wizard
The
Amps.
loudest damn
Absolutely.
guitar player, I swear, you know.
Yeah.
I said,
Wow.
Johnny, you know how it was with Blackfoot. You opened for Blackfoot. I ain't nowhere near that anymore. You know?
Wow.
So, Ricky, I wanted to ask you, with now being back in Lynyrd Skynyrd, has your guitar arsenal changed? Because I noticed now you're using the Gibson Access guitars with the Floyd Roses on them.
I'll be honest with you. You know, I've been known for having a vibrato bar on my guitars, the old Gibson tailpieces, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
And those are that's my thing. My Rich Fortis of Guns N' Roses. Rich is a great friend of mine.
Great guitar player.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Another guy that makes me not sleep at night.
Yeah, he can take it.
That guy's mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
He's absolutely mind blowing.
It was so cool, man. I met him in the Dead Daisies. He was playing for the Dead Daisies at the time.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Guns, let me adjust this. Guns, you know, wasn't on the road. And he was playing for the Dead Daisies, and I met Rich. And we struck up a great friendship. I love the guy. And, man, he just amazed me. And he's such an amazing guitar player. And
Yeah. I mean,
he wants my Explorer. And I told him he'd have to fight my gal and my daughter over it, because they, you know.
Yeah.
But he was amazed at how I keep that Explorer and the Firebird, anything with one of those tailpieces.
in
So,
tune.
how do you keep that in tune? I goes, it's always just been a thing for me, a knack that I can keep a guitar in tune with them. And what it is, here's what I believe it is, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there's a balance between where you set that tailpiece. The strings come over the tailpiece.
Right.
And here's the bridge. there's a balance right there that you got to get that set perfect. Because if it's too close or too far back, they always seem to go out of tune. So I've got the measurements of where those strings come up over that tailpiece and where they meet the saddles on the bridge. And I've always set the guitars like that.
Wow.
And they work.
Wow.
Hang
Wow.
on a minute. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Here's my 60 special.
Wow.
Right?
Okay. Thank you.
Fuck.
Had to have a tailpiece.
Yeah.
But there's the tailpiece, and there, if you look, that's the measurement that I set for all of them.
Wow.
Yeah,
So it's completely balanced.
yeah.
Wow.
Oh, she's a
That's the key.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dude. That's a beautiful guitar.
Wow.
It is
Evie
beautiful.
yellow. So, you said this is 60?
and it's great.
Yeah.
Oh, those things are beautifully loud. Those,
Yeah.
those.
Woo! And they got a beautiful. They have got such a rich tone to them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
When you hit a note on it, you can feel that entire guitar vibrate. Those
Oh yeah.
those juniors. Oh,
But
God.
Ricky,
Special.
that thing at 180 watts has got to be screaming with that hum, right? You gotta go deaf almost just by
To a
that.
Marshall. To
Yeah.
a Marshall, yeah, and to a Wizard, it sounds beautiful. You know.
Oh,
yeah.
we're selling some wizards tonight, man.
Yeah, we're gonna sell some wizards.
Yeah. We gotta get an affiliate package with that one.
Yeah, because I mean they're tanks too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow.
Wow. Great. So like, let's go into we have a couple of segments and we had briefly discussed.
You've been so
now-
kind so far. So
Yeah, it's been so great being on the show.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
So I know you lost a lot of stuff from the flood.
yeah.
Yeah.
We have a section that we call the one that got away.
Let's
Is there
start there.
one?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you have a lot because I have a lot, and I haven't been through as many guitars as you do. Is there one that will always haunt you? Either it got lost, or got stolen, or
flooded.
sold, or or flooded? Right? I never
know-
even thought about that.
Well, there is one. And I wish I had it. When I came to Skynyrd, Alan played it for a while, and so did Gary.
Mhm.
I had the very, very first reissue of the Flying V that Gibson put out that was brown. Hendrix had one.
Mhm.
There's a lot of pictures with him.
Yeah.
And I had one. And loved it. I loved that guitar. Had a vibrato ball.
Wow.
And boy, I every time I think about it, it really freaks me out because it was such a good, great playing guitar.
Right.
The headstock got busted off of it. And then it got lost and stolen. And you know what, man? I've had a lot of, but that one got away from me. And it really, it bums me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
back in when the Strikes record came out and we went on tour, we were on tour with REO Speedwagon, and we played Long Beach, California, and I was up at Atlantic Records doing an interview, and all of a sudden the next thing I know, I'm doing this interview, and the journalist left, and in walks both Al and my manager and the co-manager Jay and Jack, and they did not look happy. And I went, "Oh God, something's happened to my family." You know, first thing I thought of.
Yeah. Yeah.
They come in and told me that the whole Ryder truck had been stolen out of the parking lot at the Holiday Inn in Long Beach. dudes,
Yeah.
I lost it. I mean, and the first thing out of my mouth, I went, "Oh my God, my Firebird."
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I lost my Firebird, gold top Les Paul, that you see right there,
Mm-hmm.
and a 62 white strap with a tortoise pick guard.
Mm.
Well, we went around borrowing equipment so we could stay on the road and borrowing guitars. Man, it was crazy. Borrowing equipment. Well, we played Long Beach, you know, the next night on borrowed gear and rented gear. And we had 3 days off, and then we were going to be in Lubbock, Texas. And I wish I'd have dug it out of the room in here, but we went to Lubbock, Texas, man, and we didn't have our managers, Jay and Al and Jay, had went back to Ann Arbor because his family owned Al and Alley Music Annex, big music store. Went back to get us Marshalls, SVT, you know, drums. Tama had to send Jack brand new drums in. I mean, it was terrible. It was crazy.
All gone. It was all gone.
All gone, dude.
Wow.
Every bit. They found the Ryder truck in a neighborhood still running.
Wow.
Just didn't care. They just cleaned the thing out. Holy shit.
Cleaned it out. The only thing they left was one tom-tom and something else. But they left the road cases. They pulled everything out of the road cases, and the detectives told us that it was probably already across the border.
Wow.
So I'm in Lubbock, Texas, and we're with REO. And I go on the radio that day and tell everybody, you know, I did an interview. Atlantic took me over there, and I always did the interviews. So I'm on the radio talking about how we'd had our equipment stolen and how we were looking for equipment. Well, the phone rang in the studio, and one of the guys picked it up out of the studio, and he comes in the control room there on a commercial break with the radio. And he says, "Ricky," he says, "I have a gentleman on the phone that claims he's married to Buddy Holly's sister. And he claims that he has an old Les Paul that he would sell you." And I said, "Does he know what year it is?" No. I said, "Well, why don't you just tell him to bring it over to the building and let me take a look at it, you know, play it or whatever." He brought it over. It was a 1957 Les Paul Special. Single cutaway.
Wow.
2 soap bar pickups on it, you know, the whole bit. But it was the most god-awful looking color you'd ever seen in it. I looked at it and I went, "My God, who tried to paint this for him?" He claimed, you know, that it was Buddy's at one time.
Right.
And he was married to Buddy's sister, you know. So I thought to myself, my God, this guy's going to want my firstborn for this. And I played it, and it played with the rusty strings on it and stuff. You could tell that this was cleaned up and set up right. Man, this is going to be a good guitar.
Right.
I said, "How much you want for it?" He said, "I don't know. Could I get about $350 for it?" Really? Come again? You know, dude, I peeled off $350 so quick.
Wow.
And I still got it. It's right there in the room. And
That is
I'll
great.
tell you another good guitar story.
Sure.
I was in Jacksonville on a break, and I was seeing my mom and dad, staying with them, and off the road. And I went over to a little store called American Music, and a kid comes in there with a case. I took one look at the case. I went, "Oh my God!" It was a brown case, and he said, "I got this old guitar here that I'd like to see if I could sell." And the guy goes, "Well, I got to go get the owner of the store and see if it's something he's interested in." Well, I looked at the case and I knew the case had to be there was a 1950s Les Paul in there of some sort.
Right.
And the case was kind of, a little bit beat up, but not really bad. And I looked at the kid and I said, and he opened up the case. When he opened it up, my eyes, I almost fell out of my feet, I fell out of my shoes. It was a Les Paul, Sunburst Les Paul, pink insides of the case, a whole bit, just about like one over my shoulder, And I said, "You want to sell the guitar, huh?" Yeah. I said, come on out here to my truck. I had a '48 Ford pickup truck out in the parking lot,
Nice.
Come on out here, man. So we walk out there, and I said, we throwed it up on the back of the truck. I said, "How much you want for it?" "Well, I don't know, man. I don't know nothing about it. And it was my older brother, and he gave it to me. And, I thought I'd just sell it. I want the money." "Really? Take $500 for it?" He goes, $500? I said, "Yeah." Guys, I turned it over and looked at the back of the headstock. 0 space 4 numbers.
1960, baby.
Wow.
Made probably from all the 59 bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$500? Yeah, $500. Yeah, oh yeah, man. I gave him $500. Dude, let me tell you what. I slammed the case down on that, packed it up, throwed it in my truck, and hauled ass.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
Took it out of that town.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
And the
wow.
owner, Steve Malinky from American Music, he called me, he goes, "Man, what guitar was that?" I went, "Oh, it was just scrap. Don't worry about it, man."
Wow. Wow.
It's some crappy SG.
Wow. So we're going to ask you. We're going to do maybe we'll do 2 more of our segments. We had mentioned earlier. Do you have one of those Spinal Tap moments where shit went sideways?
Yeah, completely side.
Yeah. Now I know you probably have a million of them, but
Dude, I got a million of them. I mean,
like locked in a
Right.
bathroom trying to get on stage and you couldn't get out. I don't know. What do you got?
I will tell you really, I don't know if you could consider this a Spinal Tap moment. I believe it was for the opening band.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Anything
that-
good
that-
is. Yeah.
And I'm not gonna tell you who the opening band was. Okay, I can't do that.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I will tell you.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. We're out on the road, and we got this opening band out with us, man, and they are giving us, we're the headlining act, and they are giving us a load of crap every night.
Mhm.
They didn't have enough room. They didn't have enough time. We were this, we were that. And the lead singer, man, I was getting sick of this dude. And us Southern boys were ready to punch somebody out. Put enough tequila in me, and I guarantee you, it'd be on like Donkey Kong. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we'd had, all of us guys in the band. We had been over backwards for these guys, and their management was on our management to do this and do that. I don't know what it was that night, but we come walking in and they're on stage. And this guy is out there twitting around, and he's doing his thing. He's this and that and the other, man. And I'm looking at this guy going, is this really a front man? Or is this a clown, you know?
Right.
Well, the place where we were playing would put on stage shows, Broadway shows, and, you know, plays, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I look over, and there's a shepherd's staff with a big hook on it.
I think I know what's coming.
And I pick it up. Jack looks at me and he goes, man, get him. Go ahead and do it, Ricky. Dude, he's right like this here. And all of a sudden people said, you seen this hook come out from the side of the stage. And I grabbed him by his neck and yanked him off.
Oh,
man.
yes.
Boy, my
fantastic.
manager chewed me up and down.
I bet.
I mean, their manager called management. We're going to sue you. We're going to sue him and everything. And, you know, we were like, you know what, man, go do whatever, you know, whatever. But that's kind of.
That's definitely a good one. That's a good one.
I mean, there have been some serious Spinal Tap moments that
I bet.
I really can't tell on screen. So,
Yeah.
you know,
All
but
right.
it's been fun.
Great. We'll wrap you up with we do a section. We're gonna call it the thank you section tonight. Yeah. If you've previously watched the show, we're altering a little bit for younger ears, and that's fine. And normally we go around and we talk about from each one of the guys in the panel. But
Yeah.
everybody, if you've watched this before, you don't need to hear our opinions. I think we can all agree we would give a monstrous thank you to you, Ricky.
Yeah.
Man, you know, drummer, guitar player, the family is rich. I mean, you didn't have it easy as a Native American either. And but just like an amazing front man. And, you know, yeah, my second gig is I'll play with Lynyrd Skynyrd for 25 years, you know?
Yes.
You know? I mean, my daughter's like, you know, my daughter's 17, and she's like, you got the guy that's doing Sweet Home Alabama. So,
Every night.
yeah, so, you know, we got to say a huge thank you for you, just being you for so long. So who was, like, your greatest influence, either as an artist or, you know, somebody you really look up to and say, wow, they really did it well, or, you know?
Well, I think I'd have to go and really seriously say my granddaddy was my biggest influence.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I have loved a lot of guitar players in my life, and have been influenced, of course. I loved Jimi Hendrix. Got to see Hendrix several times in my life.
Wow.
I loved Eric Clapton. Got to see Cream in my life. Jeff Beck, another one that I just absolutely love, you know. But out of all the singers and guitar players and stuff that that influenced me in a music way, my granddaddy, he taught me, whether he knew it or not, he taught me what goes from your heart down your hands and to your mouth. He taught me the feel of it and the appreciation for the talent, that the God-given talent that I was born with.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't had him and my grandma, you know. Like I said before. And he was my major inspiration, influence, still is. I've got all his old instruments, his old banjo, his old mandolins, the Gibson,
Oof. Yeah.
his old National Steels. his fiddle that he used to play all the time. And the thing about my granddaddy was I wanted to emulate him in my life. I wanted to play everything because he could, anything that he picked up, it just amazed me. Anything that he picked up, he played it incredibly well. And that just used to be mind-blowing to me. And I wanted to emulate him. And he told me one day, don't try to do what I do. Don't try to be like me and play everything. Because you're in a business, in a type of music where you don't need to do that. So I stuck with the love of guitar and love singing. And I would say that, you know, out of everybody and everything, he's been my biggest, you know, and most major influence in my life, you know.
Wow, very cool.
Wow.
Very cool. Wow. Well, thank you so much for giving us
Hey.
your time.
Ricky.
One more shout out. There was a guy, Mike Brewer. He was watching on Facebook. He wanted to say hello. I think I've caught up with everybody. I don't know if you caught that Donna had checked in a few times. That's the one who got us in touch with you.
Cool.
She was also, when your battery died, she was messaging us too to let us know that there was the issue when we had just put on.
Well,
video.
you know, she's great at doing what she's doing. Hello, Donna, and hello, Mike, and hello to everybody that's watching. You know, heartfelt wishes go out to everybody at this time. And if you're a big Skynyrd fan and wondering what we're going to do, we will be back. I'm telling you, we will be back. And once
We will be there.
Yeah, we're going to definitely be there,
We'll be there.
without a doubt.
And guys, listen, my thanks and appreciation to you guys. Thank you for a great time.
No, thank you.
I enjoyed.
Thank you. And I would like to thank Donna for actually getting this whole thing started, which I still find unbelievable. She's a sweetheart, and you're blessed to have somebody like that working for you.
Thank you, Donna.
So Donna, thank you.
Yeah.
Take
All right,
care, guys.
So we'll sign out the streaming.
Ricky, thank
hang
you.
on 1 minute, and we'll just we'll say goodbye. Okay. So I'll stop the streaming now. There we go.